I asked for help way too far in. I was already in burnout.
I hear it all the time. Them saying, where do I start? How do I take care of mom and dad? I don't know what to do. So today our topic is just that, is what are those things? We have Holly, Frey, and we have Melinda, my co-host, that we're going to be talking to, like, what are those practical tips that you wish you had known when you first started caregiving that we can just share with the listeners today to help add some value. So a lot of the questions that you have that you are wondering about, like, where do I start? What do I do? We're hoping to answer some of those questions today. So thanks for joining us, Holly.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to share my experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah, so strength and hope. I love the hope part. So just so people get a handle and a little sense of who you are, just tell us, like, how old maybe your mother is, or who you're caregiving for, how long you've been doing it, so that we get a little sense of what your experience is in hands-on caregiving, because you're not a professional, right? This is something you kind of...
Oh yeah, no, my profession was government and at-risk youth. So mental health has been my background. Thankfully, one thing I'll say is getting to my parents, like the exercise. That's one thing I don't want to forget to say, because mental health, it's real. And this, what I've chosen to do with my life now with my mom and dad, my mom being 88, and she has Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And my dad having congestive heart failure, and watching him decline on a daily basis, especially now in his end stage of life.
Right.
Without that mental health, like picking up bicycling, like I love to bike, and I'm like, what can I implement every day to take care of myself? Exercise has to be a part of
you, the caregiver. You're not talking about for your parent. You're talking about for you.
For me,
okay,
for my mental health.
Right.
Just so I can, because they're changing in their own way. They're developing into people they don't even recognize who they are, because, they were very active, and now all they do is watch TV.
Right.
So mom with her Alzheimer's, the medication has really, and God, prayer has helped. Thank the Lord that the meds she's on has really kind of slowed the progression. But, she has her moodiness and her anger and pops up, but we work with it, and it take things a day at a time.
Right.
For sure.
By the way, did you see our podcast? You'll have to check it out. I thought of you, Holly, the one we just did with Dr. Josh on Alzheimer's. It was
great.
Fascinating.
Okay.
Fascinating.
I'm on it, and I'll send it to some more people up here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So you've been doing this for how long now?
Full-time for 6 years.
Full-time for 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because you're probably not getting compensation from any place for it.
No, another great big, and there's nothing, the government hasn't said, we're going to give you tax breaks, or, you have to pay out like $30,000 before you get a tax break for this.
Wow.
And it's just not feasible. But there are agencies you can reach out to, area agency on aging. Is a great resource. We found a local recently, just today, I had a local community nonprofit called the Hinton Center Rural Life Center. And they have missionaries that came in and helped build a ramp for my dad. They've weed eated. They're helping me. They're even going to help me build my barn for my new business, which is a mini farm for children that suffer from trauma. So we're implementing that. And that's kind of another God thing that has birthed from my mom and dad, caregiving for them. So, just surrendering everything to God and saying, you have to change my heart, Lord. Because when I took this on,
I can relate to that one.
Right?
Right.
Like gardening.
You feel terrible. You feel like you're a terrible daughter, right?
Yes. I beat myself up for so long, and that perfectionism that I was raised with from my dad came through. And I just want to encourage anyone on this call, just give yourself a break. You don't have to be perfect. And we don't have to be God. We have a God. And prayer changes things, because God has just inspired me to just pray more, ask for miracles. And guess what? Daddy's still alive.
Yeah.
20 years ago, they diagnosed him with congestive heart failure and gave him 10 years to live. and here he is 89 years old. So when they get the anyone gets the diagnosis that your loved one has congestive heart failure, if you're like me, I wanted to quit my job and move up here 20 years ago, literally, because to me, I didn't understand it, not having a nursing background, but that blew me away. It just crushed me. Right. But it is such a progressing disease that if it's treated right, it's a long journey. And every fall, everything that I've had to deal with his blood pressure, we think it's the end, and it's not.
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
I love it. So Holly, tell me a little bit about like when you started caregiving, because that's what we're really thinking about right today, is like when you started that caregiving journey, what were the things that were the big questions for you that you wish you would have known, like at the beginning, that ended up, getting much bigger than they should have?
Yeah. And I think it's, who do I call to get help? Who can I need an agency. So then they gave me the home health care agency. But Tina, there's so many things I would have done different, right? I wouldn't rush. For example, I wouldn't have rushed right up here. When mom and dad both fell the same day and got black eyes on each side of them, and they called me and they're like, haha, making a joke out of it. My son and I looked and said, it's time for me to go. But in reality, what I should have done, and I wish I would have done, is been more in touch with local agencies that could come in for me instead of me being here, and like a CNA, like home health care, and organize that from a distance instead of just rushing in, me letting go of my job, letting go of my house, selling everything. In hindsight, I would have taken things a little slower and smarter, but I just, I got in that panic mode.
Yeah, but that's, I was just going to say, the problem is you just don't know how long you have. Tina does a great talk on this. It's like, you think you have more time, and sometimes you don't. So in this case, you did.
Yeah.
So you really don't know. So now you've kind of, hate to say this, kind of like given up your life for your parents. And some people would say, well, they gave up their life for you. It's your turn.
And I'm so glad. I knew I'd be here. I think that was one of the things you wanted me to discuss. Like, when did I know it was time? And I always knew I was going to be the one.
Right.
You just know.
Yeah.
So when that all happened and you rushed up there, you were talking about the agencies and getting more support and that type of thing. What type of agencies have you found now, or support systems, I should say? Because I know, like you talked about the missionaries that are helping you today. Like, if someone's starting out fresh, like where would you suggest? I mean, I can tell them where to go as, working with families every day, but you're the caregiver.
Right.
I'd love to hear, like, where did you figure out how to go find those resources?
Well, I'll tell you, the one resource, the only way I figured it out is my church. I worked in a church, so I had a lot of elderly people there, but go to your church, get resources from there that most churches have a ton of resources. And I just checked in the newspaper, elderly care. I Googled it. I Googled elderly care, and I got the government agencies that I needed to reach out to. And I'll tell you, the best agency for me and my dad has been hospice. Because I know in Florida, hospice is not end of life services. They give you end of life services, but they don't consider it end of life anymore. They consider it services for the caregiver. And so when we came down for season to Florida this past year, oh my gosh, it was like, the gates opened up. It was like, we have help. We have a CNA twice a day. They came in. Wow. They were great with dad because it wears you out emotionally and physically. I had to have back surgery. Like, my own health declined because I was pushing the wheelchair all the time. I was having to get him out of bed. And, you got to call CNA and get back up because you just can't physically. I couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
Especially with mom.
Yeah. You have a double whammy, right? You have both of your parents. And this is the thing, right? Is that so often you watch caregivers end up being more sick the parents or the spouses they're taking care of.
Oh yeah.
Because they're doing the lifting, they're doing the heavy pushing, they're doing all the, and they're so stressed. So they're getting all these other issues going on in their bodies because of the stress and the difficulty. And so when did you know, how long into it did you realize, wait, I should have got some more help?
Too late.
Too late.
Probably a couple of years. Yeah, I tried to do it all on my own, thinking this is what I'm supposed to do. I got to, I signed up for this. Suck it up, buttercup. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
I kind of was raised with that mentality of do it all yourself. Don't ask for help. Luckily, I am in recovery. I'll have 14 years sober on the 23rd.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you. So I've, resort like friends, sisterhood, get a community of women or men, if you're the caregiver of men that you can, whether it's your church, and it's just been my friends, my sober sisters in Florida that have really contributed the most to me as far as needing to cry and the mood swings and everything I've been through, because there are just days when you do the best you can with what you got. But yeah, I asked for help way too far in. I was already in burnout.
Yeah. And describe to people what burnout looked like, Holly, because a lot of times caregivers they're totally burned out and they don't even realize that they're burned out.
I think for me, it was when I started, my son says, Mom, do you have Alzheimer's? And it was my cortisol levels were off the charts, because I couldn't remember anything. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, am I getting my mom? And I know whoever's watching this is going to identify, because it's stress. And it's just, even today I was like, what did I do with my phone? Where's my keys? I just, like sometimes, and right now I'm at max capacity. I can tell, you could probably see it in my eyes. I'm a little tired, but no, it's, my mom and dad, it's just, we have become so close. And I know I'm putting out all the negative, but the positive is every day I have them, we get closer. I'm learning more about them more now. I do wish I would have taken more videos of them when I first started, because they have progressed not only in the Alzheimer's, but my dad, where he can't remember as much. So those questions I have about the blackberry bushes, he doesn't remember anymore. And I'm like, shoot, I wish I would have. So anything that's really key to you or key to the person doing the caregiving, or you think the grandkids might want to know one day, do videos.
That's a good point, because one of the reasons that Monty and I, when we had gone and served in a nursing home, and it broke our hearts. And my husband, every time he talks about it, he gets tears in his eyes. He's like, they just want to be heard, and their stories are so valuable. And I think sometimes when you get in that caregiving mode, because it is so difficult, we don't stop to really hear the stories or to ask those questions and take advantage of it. And then they're gone, and we're like, oh my gosh, and it really struck me the other day. And so I was asking my mom some questions, and it's a great reminder. What you just said is, so I thought, I need to record this next time.
Right.
And there's a game that my son bought my mom and dad for Christmas. It's called Tales, Tales. And it's something that you can do in video. It's a game, it's a card game, and you pull out, everyone in the family can pull out, everyone can sit around and you ask questions to them about their childhood.
I love that.
I know.
That's so fun.
My son just whipped it out and started asking these questions. And I'm like, that is super cool. But like the videos are priceless, because I just think, I don't know, I'm a big picture video person.
Yeah.
And
but do you think that taking the videos and having that record kind of softens your heart a little bit towards, your parents, and because what Alzheimer's, when they're repeating the same story, when, certain things are happening, you're like, oh, you want to stop them. Having that sense of them as a human being before it all kind of took over.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying about making sure that you ask for help sooner than later, because now it's to the point where I can't seem to catch up. Like, it's been a year since I really had any time off from my parents. Like in the last 6 months, I think I had, one full night off. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm here all the time.
So my question is, because we've had these workshops and we've been talking to different people and talk about boundaries and reaching out for help. Mm-hmm. What does your extended family look like? Do you have brothers, sisters, anyone?
I have a sister. Yeah. My sister's in Florida. She's a nurse. She's a MA. And
so I'm imagining it's her turn to give you a break. Not going to happen. Okay. Yeah, that's tough.
It's, we all have choices in life, and she has her career and her husband to take care of. So, I've given up on that ship, but now my nieces and nephews, when we're in Florida, they can do it, but everybody works and has a life. Like, that's what I hear.
So I'm going to ask Tina a question. Tina, if someone is in Holli's situation as a person that provides caregiving, do you ever do like vacation caregiving where someone comes in and just 24/7 stays with the family for like a week or 2 or a month or whatever, and just kind of moves in and takes over?
It actually happens a lot where the the family just needs a break. And so a caregiver will come stay with mom or dad or both for, however long the vacation is. And it's just, we call it respite care.
Yes.
It's really just to give them a break. Mm-hmm. And so, it's a great way to do it, because you can have, if say you want to go to Europe, I think the biggest mistake that caregivers make, and I mean, you said it yourself, Holli, right? You gave up everything and your life has stopped. And really, that's not healthy for you, and that's not healthy for any caregiver. Like, you should still have a life.
Yeah.
And you would, like you, Melinda, you have your brother that comes in. So that's good.
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers that come in occasionally. But for people who are in your situation, Holli, I mean, the other thing that we have heard is have even if just a half day caregiver come in, and you've got that half day every week, every Tuesday afternoon, whether you want to go to a movie by yourself or take yourself for a manicure, pedicure, whatever, like you deserve that, that time. And if you don't, before you know it, like that bird.
Yeah. I'm in a sanctuary here.
Yeah. I mean, Tina, isn't that right? That you find people that at least they give themselves the break of a half day a week.
Yeah.
And
to your point, Melinda, I just wanted to not forget this point. There is an agency up here in North Carolina, because a lot of the home health agencies want you for respite care. Like, insurance covers that, but then they want the family member to go to a place. They don't let people come in and give the respite care.
So like the active aging, like a day.
Yeah, they want to send them somewhere, and I'm like, no, my mom and dad are not going to go stay somewhere for a week so I can go and have free time. Like, I can't do that. So they have funding where they will reimburse me $500 a year. So there are agencies like that. If anyone has, can't afford respite, just to let you know, there are resources for respite care that you can just Google it and the agencies will pop up. But yes, that's what I need, is someone to come here and stay. I'll take their phone number. They can come in August. I want to go to Florida for a week. As long as they can manage goats and a dog and cats.
Yeah, you might need 2, girl.
But they got a beautiful dock and a lake they can go swim in.
A couple could come in and do that, Tina. That's an interesting way of.
Yeah, and I think it's a great option for families, because when you take someone out of their own environment, it's much harder. Unfortunately, what happens is some families can't afford to bring somebody into their home. And so they, the only respite care they do have is what, Medicaid or Medicare will, the insurance will cover. And in that case, that does require you to go to respite care, like in an assisted living home or a nursing home or something like that, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but that's just the reality of what they do. So it is so valuable for the caregiver to get out and go have some me time.
Yeah. Well, that's why the me time, is every day I go biking.
Yeah.
I use that as my me time.
Right.
I put in 23 miles today. Like, that's it. If I didn't have my bike, Yeah, because I'm right here. So I had to, you're going to have to the caregivers are going to have to be creative and think, what do you love to do that is a form of exercise that you can really get serious about maintaining your own health? The one thing I don't want to forget, and if you notice, I got to say things as they come up because I will forget them. Dental care. Now, I learned this the hard way with my mom. I was only, my mom was always every 6 months, you have to have your teeth cleaned. Well, I have it once a year. I try to do every 6 months, but I'm always busy. Well, for her, elderly people need it every 6 months. And so when my mom started losing her teeth, we went to the dentist and they're like, we have to pull 3 of her teeth. She has cavities. So it went downhill really quick. So I just want to say oral care is really important for them.
It's interesting about that is in the podcast with Dr. Josh, he talks about one of the key indicators for Alzheimer's is people who do not have healthy mouths. They're finding actually, and don't ask me the exact bacteria, but they're finding bacteria that starts in the mouth with bad oral hygiene in the brain, which is causing some of the Alzheimer's.
Wow.
So it is so important. I mean, it's a really good point that you're saying, Holly, because it really is so important to make sure you have good oral hygiene for many reasons.
Yes.
So,
So oral hygiene, I mean, Holly, are you actually flossing your parents' teeth or can they do that for themselves still?
No, I'm not doing that. I have the CNAs. That's what they're for. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
yep. I have found, whatever I can, delegate.
Good for you.
Yeah. I can't, I even had to go buy my mom this iRobot whiskers thing for her cat. You've probably seen them. It's a self-fluctuating cat litter box.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I have one upstairs, downstairs. Like no more cat litter. Can't deal with it. Like you just get tapped out. Sorry, we're spending $2,000 on cat litters boxes, but I ain't going there anymore.
Yeah. Well, you have to think about your mental health,
Totally.
And I think one of the most important things that you said today was, start early, finding those resources that can give you the support because, you're only one person. You can't do it all. Don't have this huge expectation. Tina and I always say, give yourself some grace, not to be perfect. And taking time for yourself. Those two key things. If nothing else sinks in, I mean, people have to do this for themselves. You can hear it. You can get the advice. You can hear the experts. But until you actually apply the advice like you're doing, getting on your bike and riding every day just for a stress reliever, just to get out of the house, just to have some me time is like the most important thing that you can do.
Correct, Melinda. And also, I had to work a part-time job because it became, taking them both to the doctors. Every month they were going to a different doctor's and the doctor's appointments alone, you have to be there for like the cardiologist and certain things. I have to be there, but I don't really have to be there for every dental visit. Anything you can sub out or get the local transport, like they have Palm Tran in Florida. Up here, it's Clay County Transportation. It's free transportation. Utilize
Take advantage of it. Yeah.
Whether your parents want to not do it or not, set a boundary with them and say, I'm sorry, and because you have to, like for me, working part-time was key. It just gave me something else to focus on. Otherwise it becomes all consuming.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
It really does.
Right.
So just don't feel bad about setting boundaries. And, my cousin said to me when we first started this, she said, Holly, you need to have your parents pay you. And I'm like, I am not having my parents pay me. No way. I mean, literally, I sold my house in Florida. I lived off what I made on my house for 2 years. I didn't want my parents to do anything, Miss Independent. And I went through everything. I went through all my money just living up here in survival mode, taking care of mom and dad, taking care of my bills, where I should have let them start paying some of my stuff, like my car insurance. And, I know this, a lot of people don't have to worry about the financial aspect like I do.
Well, a lot of people do.
They do. And it's that so
and in
important.
the beginning, I didn't need the help. But if I would have gotten started smarter and worked, more efficiently financially and not spent my savings in my retirement,
Right.
because that's what you go through. You just don't want to put the burden on them. But, if you're up there taking care of them, accept it. Say, I got to get paid, or, mom and dad, you got to part of your Social Security. As long as the bills are getting paid, I need $100 a week or 200, whatever you want to do. But don't spend it to where you don't have it anymore. And then trying to be independent, and being prideful.
So, yeah, I do have one question. We had a guest on just a moment ago. Mm-hmm. Do your parents have an end of life plan? Do you know what they're wanting? Cremated, buried?
Yes.
You've had that conversation.
I've contacted the funeral home with my dad. I know exactly. I've put that into place. And another thing is I've been starting to write my dad's
memoirs.
Yes. I've been putting together little isms, because my dad's an ism, like no matter where you go, there you are. And he just has so many little sayings, and started writing all those down. And so I'm, I got, the end of life, everything's inside. We got trust set up, and I did all that right away. That's one smart thing.
That was smart.
Right away before mom's Alzheimer got really bad, I said, we're going to go in and establish exactly what you want. Because it had been 20 years since they did their will and their trust. So now it's settled and everything's done, and I don't have to worry about it.
That's good.
Yeah, that's so smart. And that's one of the number one things that we were just having this conversation earlier of, between the siblings fighting over the finances because the parents don't plan ahead and get that done that way, or the burial itself, the, after death events. The siblings don't speak because they have two different opinions. When if the parents can do it early and have those conversations, the kids step in and have it early with their parents. It helps so much to alleviate all that.
And we set up, she changed her executor of the estate to me, who's the one doing the caregiving, me. So I had the right to all their health decisions immediately, their finances, everything. And, I kept trying, because I didn't want my family mad at me. So I was trying to keep all their money and their investments, like not touching anything. And 2 years ago, I said, you know what? Why? So you can suffer and not have everything you need, and we need roofs and all this stuff. Like, no, we're going to start cashing that in, because you need this stuff now. And they agreed. And, luckily, so you just have to make the best decisions you can. I did reach out to other opinions with my close friends to verify that my thinking was correct, because, sometimes you get to a point where you can't think except for moment to moment. It's hard to scope out and really think sometimes. Melinda, I'm sure you understand that.
I do.
To see the big picture, like you're so super, you become super focused.
Yeah. And I keep on saying this, everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Whether it's two parents, one parent, remote, you're living, I mean, there are so many different components. But I think that you're handling what you're doing extremely well. I wish for your sake also you had started earlier, and kept your little nest egg and let your parents pay for all this caregiving, but that didn't happen. But maybe somebody else will learn from your experience.
Yes, and that's what I pray for.
That's what we're hoping, is because the more you can take care of yourself, then the better caregiver you can actually be for other people.
And one thing I will say, like, never underestimate the power of God. Because again, when I first started this, I'm like, my dad has daylilies, blackberries, blueberries. I had to weed again, like not the weed word, like growing up, he always forced me to weed. So I swore I was never going to pull another weed when I moved out of the house at 18. And now this morning I was under the blackberries weeding. God will change your heart. Just ask him. Say, Lord, I'm struggling with this area. My dad was super critical of me the first 2 years. I was crying. I can't do this anymore. I wanted to go see a therapist. And luckily my sponsor, thing to do. And my sponsor in AA was like, Holly, and like I worked with her through that. I called my therapist friends Yes, definitely. I'm all about seek out any kind of help you need, because it took a while, and then finally he softened, and I was able to have those tough conversations with my dad. Like, it really hurts me, Dad. And it's only because of God, because I was so afraid to confront my family, because, you know, I was the kid, but you turn into the adult and now they're the children.
Yeah. You're the parent now.
I'm the parent.
Yes. Yeah. So Holli, with that, we need to close this podcast today, but I would love, is there anything else that you would say to a new caregiver besides what we've already talked about today that you would leave them with a gold nugget to help them get started in their caregiving journey that we haven't addressed? Or do you think we've hit all the highest points?
I think we've hit a lot of them, but I will say the thing that's gotten me the most discombobulated is having expectations. I have zero expectations when I wake up in the morning. I don't think a day's going to go a certain way. I take it moment to moment. I get my dad, when we get him out of bed, when we're cooking dinner together, just trying to stay in the moment with them, because it could be a fall that's the last fall. And, you know, do as much. If you put together a to-do list of your plan in the next year that you want to accomplish with your parents, like getting videos and stuff, start doing it immediately. Yeah. Anything that you think about you want to do not procrastinate. Do it.
Yeah, we're not guaranteed tomorrow, right?
We're not. And, you know, I've been blessed to have them as long as I've had them, thankfully. And I'm sorry if I seem like so rigid, but I really love my mom and dad. I love them with all my heart. That's why I'm here. But it does toughen you up. You will turn into, you know, you get a tough skin because you have to. Yeah. But I do not regret it at all, any second that I've been in this role. It was the best decision and the best career move I've ever made. Yeah. Actually, it really is, because, you know, we have no regrets. So thank you, Tina, for asking me, and Melinda. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. And I have one saying, God is constantly conspiring in our behalf. And that's what it sounds like was going on for you. So
yes.
Always working it out for us.
Yep.
And wisdom. Thank you.
Yeah. And having Tina as a friend and a support, I can't thank her enough. It was a God sequence that we met. So thank you, Tina, for all you're doing.
Oh,
you're my girl.
My pleasure. And, you know, I applaud you, Holli, because I know what you go through, and I know how hard it's been and how much you've sacrificed. And so, you know, in dealing with caregivers every day, I see it. It's such a hard thing. But what you said, I think we should stick on at the end of this podcast, it's so valuable, is just how much we love them, right? And if we can focus on that in those tough moments, and Melinda and I have talked about this a lot, like we can stay in that place of gratitude and just appreciation for who they are. Yes. Sometimes they're just a shell of a person now.
They are.
Because their mind's not there. Their bodies might not be there, but who they are is so beautiful and such a gift.
And can I throw in one more little nugget? I forgot to mention this. It's so awesome. When I started thanking God for the difficulties, it changed my perception, which changed my relationship with them again. Like it kept growing to different layers. So when Dad was being difficult, I'd run downstairs and say, "Thank you, Jesus," even though I didn't feel it.
Yeah,
but it really worked.
But it's like, thank you for the opportunity to grow. You're like, thank you for the opportunity to grow, right?
Yes.
Right. Good for you. So good for you. That's very advanced. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
So we always, you know, we laugh. Part of obviously our, you know, tagline is we laugh so we don't cry. Sometimes it's like, oh. So you can just run down and thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Okay, going back up.
We'll leave you on that note. For those of you driving, not watching, you missed it.
And subscribe, Tina, and like and share the video.
Absolutely.
And because Holli is like, when it's really a caregiver, it's so authentic and wonderful. You know, you can have experts telling you, but when someone who's in the trenches, so to speak, you know, it's a powerful time and a message for a lot of other caregivers out there. They'll hear it from you more than they would from someone else.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and share it with your friends that need this information. Have a blessed day.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you for joining us. Subscribe and come back next week for more expert guidance, real support, and even a little laughter.